So first we're watching to see if we get a decision from Judge Merchan in New York on the Trump gag order violations, about 9 or 10. He was pretty nasty to the Trump legal team there, saying, quote, they are losing all credibility in their arguments. I think, again, they're making it impossible for President Trump to speak to the media because basically they put a gag order on the entire trial, so he can't talk about anybody who's going to be testifying. He can't talk about who's going to be saying what about him.
We have a gag order, which to me is totally unconstitutional. I'm not allowed to talk, but people are allowed to talk about me. I'd love to talk to you people. I'd love to say everything that's on my mind, but I'm restricted because I have a gag order. This trial is all Biden. This is all Biden, just in case anybody has any question. And they're keeping me in a courtroom that's freezing, by the way, in a courtroom all day long. Well, he's out campaigning. That's probably an advantage because he can't campaign. Nobody knows what he's doing. He can't put two sentences together.
Like he said, he just has to sit there and take it. This is while he's running for president of the United States. And there are a lot of cases on gag orders and whether they're constitutional or not. So we will have to see there. We also know that, again, we've seen for the Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear a major case. ACLJ has filed, Logan, on immunity from criminal prosecution and the presidency. And I want to go to Harry Hutchinson because, Harry, this is a huge case. And again, we'll be able to hear the Supreme Court oral argument, and it's whether or not a president, in our position, the ACLJ, when they have their official acts as presidents, if they are immune from prosecution once they are no longer president. Because we have a Court of Appeals decision right now saying that they, even when they are, once they are out of being president, that they lose the immunity they would have had, so that you could just keep prosecuting these presidents, even for acts that you couldn't have prosecuted them for as president of the United States.
You're precisely correct. So this is a hugely important case. Law professors all over the United States are very interested in the outcome of this particular case. And tomorrow, in the final argument scheduled for the 2023-2024 term before the United States Supreme Court, former President Donald Trump will make an historic bid for criminal immunity. It's an important case because it should clarify an important gap, if you will, in constitutional jurisprudence. The question before the Supreme Court justices is whether Trump can be tried on criminal charges that he conspired to overturn the results of the 2020 election. The court's answer will determine whether Trump's trial in Washington, D.C. before Judge Chunkin, which was originally scheduled in March, will go forward, but it also will have implications for whether or not the president's trials in Florida and Georgia go forward. And so the ACLJ has taken a more nuanced approach. I think Donald Trump has asserted essentially blanket immunity. Jack Smith has suggested that once the president leaves office, he loses all immunity, which makes no sense because if Jack Smith's argument is correct, then it compromises the president's independence and the separation of powers between the president and the House of Representatives and Congress and the judiciary while in office. So this is a hugely important case, and listeners should stay tuned to the opinion, which will likely issue in June.
When you hear the Trump absolute immunity case, I'm curious about that too, because people are probably questioning what that means in terms of obviously what he's dealing with right now in the court in New York. Those are not necessarily connected, but are they all connected? How does that work?
Well, I think they are all connected, and they are connected at a foundational level by politics. So in other words, this is a determined and insistent effort that President Trump be barred from office. And so what the legal minds, particularly on the left, have done is they've gotten together, and there's some evidence that there's coordination with the White House, basically to come up with legal cases which have a political impact. So they're not being driven, these cases are not being driven by the rule of law. They're being driven by the rule of politics. And I think the American people should be aware of that. And they should be aware of the fact that many of the newscasters are offering really a political spin on these legal cases. So, for instance, ABC News is arguing against Trump's immunity claim. Why? Because they argue that Trump lost the last election by 7 million popular votes.
That's right.
Well, popular votes are irrelevant with respect to determining who becomes president. It's determined by the Electoral College. And so it's important for listeners to keep in mind that they will receive a misleading narrative from mainstream news.
Either way. And that is one of the reasons we are here as well, because you have an option of non-mainstream news, and that's us being able to come to you and utilize the amazing platforms that exist now for distribution. The fact that we're able to come on here and use YouTube and Rumble and Facebook and X and all of the different options, Instagram, however you're watching this content, or just on our website or our app on aclj.org, know that we really appreciate the fact that these outlets exist. However, without you, we can't get that voice heard. Without you, we can't afford to put this show on each and every day, to have the legal experts that you hear, to hear all the amazing guests that we'll have on this broadcast today, we've had on all week, to actually get into the court system and to do all this work, Jordan. We couldn't do it, and we are in the final days of our Life and Liberty Drive. Just 6 days are left, and we are still short of our goals, and we really could use your help.
That's right. So please make a gift today during our Life and Liberty Drive, as Logan was talking about. It will be doubled at aclj.org. We filed that amicus brief in the appeal of the Fani Willis corrupt prosecution of President Trump. It's at the Georgia Court of Appeals. It could take the case at any day. Again, your gifts will be doubled during this Life and Liberty Drive. The opportunity ends, as Logan said, in just 6 days. And if you become a recurring donor, one of the over 21,000 ACLJ champions, you fight with us each and every month, please go to aclj.org to donate now, Logan. That's aclj.org. I know we're a little bit behind. We got 6 days left here, but people, again, they can double the impact of their donations. Think about, we are involved in all these cases, the immunity case at the U.S. Supreme Court, the hush money cases. We're commenting on all of these.